Good morning, everybody. I'm glad to see that I'm not the only one sitting in the dark watching the rain pour down the window this morning. I'm Robin May, as Steve mentioned. I'm here with my Chief Scientific Advisor hat on at FSA, but actually I'm also here because as a kind of practicing academic scientist, citizen science has been something that's been really important to me, and I am super keen that we do both well and more of. So it's a real delight to be here. I'm very sorry that I'm not going to be able to stay for the whole meeting because it looks very interesting, and actually much more interesting than some of the other meetings I have in my diary today. But I will look forward to catching up afterwards on the readouts. I want to keep my comments very brief because I'm very dull relative to all the exciting stuff that's coming later in the agenda. But I just wanted to take the opportunity to really stress how important we feel citizen science is to the FSA as an organisation, to the wider kind of government science piece, and actually to me personally as a practicing researcher. This is one of the most exciting developments, I think, in academic science of the last 20 or 30 years. The idea that you can get people voluntarily to get involved in research and do things that you can't do in other ways. And to me, there are really kind of four really key points about citizen science. And the first, I think, is that it is what it says on the tin. Citizen science involves citizens. And that is incredibly important because it is all of us as citizens who ultimately pay for a lot of the research that we do, certainly UKRI funded research through taxes. And hopefully it's us who benefit from it in the end. So to me, it has always made a lot of sense that you want to involve citizens in all the parts of the research that they are both paying for and hopefully benefiting from. But actually, I think scientifically, there are also really, really good reasons to do this that go beyond just wanting to involve people. And one of those, I think, is that you can achieve data that you would never normally get. And you'll hear later today, particularly in some of the joint FSA funded projects, that these are projects that you could not do in a lab. You could not even do probably by going out and individually targeting people. We rely on this kind of large citizen base to provide really robust, impressive data. And we've seen over the last 10 or 15 years just how much you can learn by getting large numbers of people involved in citizen science and doing things in their own homes or their gardens or wherever. I was involved a couple of years ago with my other hat on in a project run from Imperial using citizen science to track fungal spread in the UK. And, it was just a delight to be part of that and to see a piece of work come out of that that would never have been achievable without citizen science. And I think the third point about citizen science, which we sort of all intuitively know, but very rarely comment about, is that it allows you to generate really amazing N numbers. A lot of the time in my lab profession, I sit there thinking it'd be nice if we could do this 3 or 4 times. With citizen science, you might be able to do it 3,000 or 4,000 times and get incredibly robust data across a very wide socio-demographic spectrum, accessing people who perhaps you might not normally access. So that might be, people in rural communities who live a long way from their nearest university, people for whom English is not their first language, as they may not be reading the same scientific press that the rest of us do. And I think there's a real advantage there in getting that scientific message out and getting data in large numbers from parts of society that you might not otherwise be able to reach. And then I think lastly, to me, perhaps the most exciting and important thing about this, and perhaps that's also because we have young children here at home, is that this is a way to inspire a whole new generation, and in particular people who might think science is not for them, that actually science is really important, and maybe it is for them. I've seen all these fantastic examples of primary school children going out and digging stuff out of soil for citizen science projects, pensioners doing things in a pension group about how better to walk and how to get exercise, these kind of things. Dog owners swabbing their pets. There's all sorts of exciting things. And very often the people doing these things are people who have no real science background, who probably prior to their involvement might have said, I don't really understand why science is important, and least of all why my taxes should be spent on it. Now suddenly getting involved and getting inspired and realizing, I think what most of us on this call realize, that it's a really exciting thing to do. So I think it is absolutely fabulous. As you can probably hear, I'm really passionate about citizen science. I am delighted by many of the projects that we have co-funded. I'm really looking forward to us doing more of this in the future. I think the findings are super exciting and also likely to be super influential, because that, of course, is also another key point from my current role in government, is that most of the time when we're talking with government policy advisors, we are not talking to other scientists. There are not many scientists in government. And so the messages we try to bring have to be ones that make sense to people with no science background. And citizen science is, of course, brilliant at delivering data that speaks to people regardless of their background. So it's enormously useful for influencing policy. So I just want to draw it to a close really by saying, to me, and I think to all of the team, this is absolutely the start of the conversation, not an end. We are very, very keen to hear from you. Although I can't hang around, obviously lots of people at FSA will be on the call all day. And please, please do reach out. You can easily find my email online or my Twitter handle if you like. I'm very keen to hear from people. If you think there are ideas we should be doing, things that are working really well, things that we've missed, findings from citizen science that need to higher profile or need to be put in front of ministers because it's really important for policy, please do reach out. And conversely, please also do reach out into your communities. Redouble your efforts, which I know you're all working really hard on, to get people involved, to ask schools, community groups, family, friends, people in your villages, towns and cities to get involved with citizen science projects that speak to them. Because I think the more of this we do, the better it is for us as scientists, but particularly for society and for the country as a whole. Many thanks indeed for having me here. So sorry I can't stay around, but I'm looking forward to hearing all the discussions later. Thanks very much.